For the first day of a class, I usually welcome students to the class. In this example, the one at the bottom, welcomes the students to the class. And I use Twitter also for reminders. So the next tweet you see, the one on the top, actually reminds students what we will be reading for that particular class period. And in this example, they were reading McLuhan's piece, Medium is the Message. And in addition, I introduce students to some valuable resources on Twitter. For example, in this screenshot, you see three different retweets that I have posted on the class Twitter page, so that students know, for example, The Verge, Ars Technica, Read and Write, and these are variable, really fantastic resources that they could tap into if they are really interested in the topics for a particular day. This next page, I will spend a little bit of time talking about how I specifically use it in the classroom. So since I require students to tweet, I actually, once they tweet to me, I actually retweet it to the class page so that we will have an archive of sort before even the class gets started. So I read and I retweet students' tweets, and in this way, actually, I get a sense of what students got out of the chapter ahead of time, and I can have a sense of what they are being thinking about, how many of them actually got the key points from the chapter, and how many of them are missing the mark. In this example, it shows some of the benefits of using Twitter in the classroom. Because everybody tweets in the class, then we would have an archive after a whole semester, the key points that students have gleaned from each reading. And here it shows three different students' tweets. One of them, as you can tell, has an egg face because she doesn't want to post her picture, which is entirely fine. And three of them have used their real names, and as I said, some actually didn't use their real names at all, and that's all their own choices, but I know who they are. And it has also been great to use these kinds of tweets in the classroom, because we know that it's always hard to get students to participate in classroom conversations, which is really the point of coming to class, having a collective sort of reading time. So I always ask them to think about the quotations that they pulled out of the reading and chapter, and ask them how they thought about that particular quotation and why they thought so. On this screenshot, you see Dallas Britt, who actually quoted a sort of McLuhan's definition for Medium the Message. And I would invite him to explain how he perceived McLuhan's understanding of Medium the Message and whether it makes sense to him. So it is a point for discussion as well, and for classroom participation. So I thought this has been very useful to entice everybody, not just the vocal ones in your classroom, to participate in classroom discussions. And next, I'll show an example of how some other students have used Twitter in the class as well. In this one, as you can tell, we see a sort of quote-unquote Western girl on the left and a Muslim girl on the right. And the girl on the left says everything covered but her eyes. What a cruel male-dominated culture. The one on the right says nothing covered but her eyes. What a cruel male-dominated culture. So this picture actually came from a student because we were having a discussion in the global media class where a video of a debate between two women, both Muslim women, was shown in the classroom. And a girl, female student in the class said, I remember this funny cartoon somewhere and I'll put it out for you. And so she actually posted this tweet in the class, and we had a nice laugh about this for sure in the classroom. And next, I want to say that we have also tried to follow other campus resources, for example, Niner Times, UNC Charlotte News, UNC Charlotte Class. These are accounts on campus that we follow, and it's interesting that they also follow us back. I've also followed before Liberation Tech, which is a Twitter account and a resource center actually based in Stanford. And it turns out they were also very interested in what we had to say in the class. And the Council on Foreign Relations also followed our tweets as well. I thought they were interested in how the students are perceiving those readings, as well as what our students are feeling about media and technology today. In addition, I want to discuss briefly on this slide some cautionary notes. One is that to use Twitter in the classroom, it's a good idea to know Twitter very well ahead of time so that we have encountered pretty much all the situations that could happen and can properly handle different situations. And second, I thought it was important to address student concerns, especially the concern for privacy, their concern for anonymity, and these are valid concerns, and they are ways that we can negotiate and make it work. Also, I thought it was important for them to make decisions and explain and understand why they make those decisions. For example, how to or whether you should be protecting your account, what are the benefits for doing so, and if you make your account public, what are the benefits and downside of that? And so to make it so flexible for the students so that they feel that they have a choice and they make the right decision for themselves. Also, I thought it was important for the trial and error, since half the students in my classes really didn't have an experience using Twitter at all. They sometimes make mistakes, and that's entirely okay. And I think after a short while, everybody actually got to know Twitter pretty well. I don't think everybody's still using it today. I'm sure some still felt Twitter is not that useful, but for others, it has really been beneficial. It was really interesting and important, I guess, to also emphasize the importance of civility on Twitter in terms of how you exchange your remark, especially in the public place, a quote-unquote public space that is Twitter. Also, sometimes students have asked questions. Somehow they don't want to write me emails, and instead they have Twittered to me in 140 characters trying to ask questions, and I try to be responsive and answer their questions as quickly as I can, since I check my Twitter account every day. But it does put a little bit of pressure on you to be responsive. And students sometimes also will follow you as well. And I think it's a good sign that they think, it's actually interesting to hear what you have to say. And I think it's entirely okay to do that. And I think that's actually my presentation. Thank you for your time.